19 Sufficient conditions. The natural logical counterpart of necessary is sufficient, which is used in the following ways, completely analogous to necessary. S1 inch order that, it is sufficient that, S2 inches order for, it is sufficient for, S3 inches order to, it is sufficient to, S4, is a sufficient condition for, S5, is sufficient for. The following are examples of mutually equivalent statements using these different forms. S1 inch order that I get an A, it is sufficient that I get a 100 on every exam. S2 inches order for me to get an A, it is sufficient for me to get a 100 on every exam. S3 inches order to get an A, it is sufficient to get a 100 on every exam. S4 getting a 100 on every exam is a sufficient condition for getting an A. S5 getting a 100 on every exam is sufficient for getting an A. Just as necessity statements can be paraphrased like only if statements, sufficiency statements can be paraphrased like if statements. The direct approach is first to paraphrase the sufficiency statement in the following form. If A is sufficient for B. Now, to say that one state of affairs event A is sufficient for another state of affairs event B is just to say that B obtains happens provided if A obtains happens. So for example, to say that getting a 100 on every exam is sufficient for getting an A is to say that getting an A happens provided if getting a 100 happens, which may be symbolized quite simply as HA. The general principle is as follows. A is sufficient for B is paraphrased if A, then B,